I don't want to.
Hi guys, it's Cal from Nerdy Weasel. Welcome to the first episode of the Mod Organizer for Fallout 3 series. As some of you may know, I already have a series on Mod Organizer for Fallout New Vegas. Some have asked for tutorials in support of Fallout 3 using Mod Organizer. This short series will be focused on getting your game running with Mod Organizer, setting it up, switching over from Nexus Mod Manager, and downloading mods. It's not going to cover in-depth reviews of mods for Fallout 3, but rather, it will concentrate on getting them all to run together and overcoming hurdles presented by the older mods. Mod Organizer is an extremely powerful tool for users, and it is in using those tools to the best of their abilities where this series will be focused. Episode 1 will cover setting up Mod Organizer and preparing to download mods. Further episodes will expand on the fundamentals and getting it working like a pro with this manager. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, here we are at the green Fallout 3 screen and we're ready to get started. And I have a couple things open. I have Steam open. You can see I have Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition. I suggest you have the Game of the Year Edition. Most mods will expect you to have it nowadays. And if you are a new game owner, if you have just bought it in anticipation for Fallout 4 coming out in October, congratulations, we're going to be modding it. If you got Fallout 3 as a gift for buying Fallout 4 in October, and you're viewing this month from now, congratulations. You now own a great game and you're ready to mod it. However, there is one thing we need to do. If you have already modded it, and let's say you have Nexus Mod Manager for Fallout 3, there it is, I have a mocked one up. I just built one really fast. We're going to need to do a few things. So bear with me for a second, guys. We need to address the Nexus Mod Manager users as they transition over to Mod Organizer. So first thing you're going to do, see this thing? I want you to open up your Nexus Mod Manager mod folder, and you'll have a bunch of stuff in here. This is just like I said, it has these mods. I never installed them, but I want you to go ahead and copy these. Just copy them. And I want you to create a new folder over here. Just call it FO3 mods. Okay. Open that up. Paste these in. And there you go. I want you to stash that someplace where you can find it later, okay? So that way you can get rid of it. So now you can get rid of Nexus Mod Manager. We're just going to remove it from my desktop. Remember, this is a, there is no going back. You're Mod Organizer forever now. So, we now have everyone basically on the same page, but we need to do some cleanup first. If you have your Fallout 3 ready to go, I want you to open up your files. If you played the game before, you may have something in your documents. Which open that up in Games, Fallout 3, and you see all this stuff? Delete it. Say goodbye. Okay? There we go. Goodbye. Next thing we have to do, if you have previously modded the game, I want you to go where the game folder is. Mine's on my games drive, and I always suggest you have all these things on your games drive, or a separate folder in your main drive. Into steamapps, common, Game of the Year. I want you to look at this and make sure you don't have anything extra in here. I don't. And then I want you to go into data. And if you see anything here that is not a BSA or anything else that is from one of the standard stuff here, I want you to get rid of it. Okay? Just get rid of it. That was actually added by a test. We can get rid of that. Delete that. Yes. So you can see we got rid of everything else here. Everything is done. We can now go and close that. So, next step, I want you to open up your Steam or wherever you may have it. I want you to right-click on Fallout 3. I want you to go to Properties, and I want you to go to your local files, and I want you to verify integrity of game cache. Just do it. We'll come back to it. It takes a little while. Trust me. Your patience will be rewarded. Okay, that's done. We can close that. And we're all on the same page. We now have a clean game. Your other option was to go ahead and completely, reinstall the game. I think that's excessive. All right. what we need to do, since we got rid of all of the game documents that you had, the ini files in your saves, we need to rerun the game for the first time. And you want to do this through your Steam app. I want you to hit play. Now, you can see it's brand new and all the ini settings are gone, because it's now acting me to detect my video hardware and set video options accordingly. Okay. Ultra high quality, thank you. Alright, now I want you to go into your options. Since this is a new, you can still see I'm using my GTX 780. I'm waiting for my GTX 980 Ti from Gigabyte. It's going to give you a few settings. I want you to go ahead and change. Most people play at 1920 by 1080. There's an option right there. Boom, hit that. Set mine to 4 samples. Enterprise scapping is probably fine right there. 15 for now. If you want to go into your advanced mode, you can go look at all these things. Okay, but they're all basically ultra closed. All right, and hit OK. I want you to go ahead and hit play for the first time. And we'll let the game load up completely to the start menu. Alright, we have a start menu now. Go ahead and hit new. Start a new game? Yeah, and what we're going to do is reset the ini settings. Alright, now that we've gotten this far, you see the little light bulb come on. That means you've got it. Alt-tab out. Just Alt-tab out of that. Close window. Close program. Done. Over. So when we go back and look at our files under our documents, my games, Fallout 3, boom, everything's back. But you know it's brand new. So you didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. So I can close that. I can close this. So everyone's on the same page. They now have a clean game, a clean install. We feel very, very cleansed. Now we're ready to get Mod Organizer. If you come over to the internet, and under the Nexus Mods Skyrim page, just remember it's okay, Skyrim mods, nexusmods.com, Skyrim/mods1334, you will have Mod Organizer by Tannen. Congratulations, you're now joining one of the 1 million happy users of Mod Organizer. Alright, you can go and read all this stuff. The newest version is 1.3.8, and I use it, and it works very well. I don't have any problems with it. I want you to go to Files. And I want you to scroll down to the Mod Organizer 1.3.8 installer. Download that manually. Just download it manually. We'll come back to that stuff. And I can see I already have it on my desktop here. There it is. I want you to double click it. I want you to run it. Next. And I agree. Now when you come through these things, I want you to leave all these things checked. I want you to handle Nexus links. I want you to hit the Start menu shortcut if you really want one in your Start menu. I don't really care to. I'm going to create a shortcut. I'll show you how to do that later on. I want you to hit Next. Now here's the important thing. Remember we talked about no program files. Hopefully you don't have the game installed in the program files x86 because Mod Organizer hates it. Okay, anyways, I want you to browse. Because Mod Organizer requires that a version of each be installed for each game that you have that's being managed by Mod Organizer, and you can see I have Skyrim and Fallout New Vegas ready to go. I have versions of each, so I need to go into my games file or my games folder. In this case, it's that one. Go into Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Fallout 3 Game of the Year. Okay, you know you're in the right spot when you see this stuff, okay? So you can see Nexus Mod Manager still there. We're going to have to get rid of that later, but I can delete that at some other time because it doesn't really matter anymore. All right? Select that, hit OK. There we go. So you now have Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Fallout 3, Mod Organizer. Hit Install. Run Mod Organizer 1.3.8. Yes, thank you very much. And you'll be presented with one of two options. Do you have the regular version or the Game of the Year? Hopefully you have Game of the Year. Hit OK. And here's a little message of the day from Tannen. Thank you, Tannen. You are starting Mod Organizer for the first time. You want to show a tutorial of its basic features. If you choose no, you can always start the tutorial from the help menu. You think I've used Mod Organizer for the first time? No, that's not anything new. But if you are using Mod Organizer for the first time, I suggest you go through the tutorial go through its basic features, and I would suggest that you view a series of videos by my buddy Michael over on Gamerpoets on YouTube. Gamerpoets, Gamerpoets. Look him up. He has a great series on the basics of using Mod Organizer. It's probably better than the tutorial, really, the series. He's the Mod Organizer for the step guys. He's the specialist. So I'm going to click No. And there we have a Mod Organizer. Congratulations. Right? Now on the left side, you will have your priorities list. This is basically, if you were thinking in terms of Nexus Mod Manager, this is your load order that you download the mods in. But you can move them around. Now over on this side, this is actually your plugins list. These are your plugins. This will dictate load order as far as the game running. Okay, think of this as load order for priority. So something will take priority over another one the farther it is down the list. When you'll see that in action more often when we actually start downloading mods. But it's in the wrong order right now, so don't ask me why. I want just follow this list over here, and you want Fallout 3 on top, and then you want Anchorage below it. There we go. The pit goes next. Point. Is it broken? It's Broken Steel. I always forget this if I'm going by memory. Point, Lookout, and then Zeta. So now these non-managed miles, just non-managed mod organizer mods that will always be in this priority list. So just do it that way. If you come over here, you'll see that if you just hover over Anchorage, enabled masters Fallout 3. That's why you need to have this running first. Right? It's fine. Don't worry about it too much. So let's go over some of the buttons. If you had install a new mod from an archive, you could do that. If you've downloaded it to your desktop, you could do that. If you want to search Nexus Network for more mods, you would click that, and it would pop up a window to Fallout 3. Okay, got that. We'll come back to that in just a second. And this is Configure Profiles. It's going to be the same button as Profiles here. So I want you to click this for the first time, and you'll have Default. This is the vanilla game. I want you to click on that, and you're under Rename. Or just call it Vanilla. You can call it Base Game or whatever you want to call it. We're just going to name it. Now on Vanilla Game, we want to click Automatic Archive Invalidation. Click that, and close. That has basically the same functionality of doing this drop down and hitting Manage. Same window. I want you to click that again. I want you to click Copy. And please enter a name for the new profile. I want you to enter something you remember, something that is unique to you. For me, obviously, unique to me is Dirty Weasel. Hooray. Do the same thing. Since you've created vanilla with automatic archive invalidation, Dirty Weasel now has automatic archive invalidation. This is a very important box to check, guys. Always do that. But, you could also, do different things. You can remove it, you can rename it, you could copy it, or create a brand new one. You go and close that. So, when you hit the drop-down menu, you go from vanilla to Dirty Weasel. Now, I'm willing to modify this profile so that I have a nice clean version of vanilla that I can run at any time. All right, see how that works? Now we can start modding our game, right? But we have some other things to look at first, and we will go to our configure the executables that we started through Mod Organizer. We will come back to this. I want you to look at Tools, and you can see the Any Editor and the Nexus Mod Manager import. I don't like the Nexus Mod Manager import. I think it really is kind of funky, and you may have issues with it. That's just me. You can try it. I don't like it, but that's just me. And the configurator. The configurator is a different thing. Right? General. I wouldn't worry about this too much. That's an advanced stuff. But let's go back to the Any Editor. Mod Organizer uses any files, fallout.ini and falloutprefs.ini, that will run whenever you run Mod Organizer, run the game through Mod Organizer. If you want to edit the ini file for whatever reason, and there's a lot of reasons to do so, I would do that through this thing. So if you wanted to change something in this file, let's say change time slowly equals 1, change it to 2, and you hit save. Right? Now that when you reopen that up, it'll change time slowly will be changed always to 2. Well, let's put it back to 1 before I forget. And hit save. Close that down. Next thing over, we are going to cover configure settings and workarounds. General. I want you to go ahead and, check your English language and style. I always leave it at none just because that's the way I like it. And you can go Fusion. Hit OK. That's nothing special. Let's change that to something else. I saw this the other day. Dracula. Okay, if you like the black, the white on the black, that's entirely up to you. But you can change it that way. I'm just going to go none. Hit OK. Open this back up. So that's what that does. Here's what I would like you to do. I want you to click Advanced right here. And it's going to give you 3 options on where to choose your mod directories. Leave mod directory alone, leave cache directory alone. Let it do its thing within the steamapps common files. It'll run faster this way. But there is one thing, the download directory right here is going to be where all your downloads are stored, not the mods themselves after they're installed in the priority list or on your plugins. This is just where you will be, saving your downloads, and they will only be accessed when you reload a mod or reinstall it. I want you to go ahead and click that. And I've got mine. You can put this wherever. I put mine on a dump drive. This is where I store all my recording stuff. But you can see there I have a file I've created called Mod Organizer. If you have not done so, just right click and create a new folder, name it Mod Organizer, so you have it right here. Open that up, and you can see I've already created another file, and you do the same thing in this. Create a new folder, name it Fallout 3, so you have it. Delete that. Now when you open this up, that's where we have it. So go back, select folder, yes, select folder. Now, you can see under this, it is now under my D drive, which is just my dump drive. I don't care how fast it loads some of this stuff. Mod Organizer Fallout 3 downloads. Click OK. Now open this back up. See, there's a lot to do in this. So you go Nexus, automatically log into the Nexus. Probably a good idea. I want you to put in your Nexus login name and your password. Of course, mine is Dirty Weasel Media. And the password. You'd think I'd show you, huh? Now that's blacked out with my little Dirty Weasel symbol. I want you to go ahead and click Download Manager with links. Associate with Download Manager links, okay? That, done. And hit OK. Now when you open this back up, you'll come back to this. When you download your first one, it'll show known servers and preferred servers. You can drag and drop those. So, Steam. You can put in your Steam stuff. I never do. I just don't like putting it out there. So we'll move on to the next tab, and that's plugins. Here is all your plugins. You'll hear me say sometimes you need to disable the FOMod installer. See these plugins right here? These are what we're talking about. So when I say disable the FOMod installer, I want you to double click on it, and you're presented with this window. And what you would do is enable true, double click it, and you hit a drop down. You turn to false, or turn to true, whatever it is. I want it to true. And just all these different plugins. Don't worry about them too much. It'll just be as we go, stuff to do. And workarounds. This is the Steam app ID. This is the load mechanism. And the Nexus Mod Manager version. I always change this to the most recent version, which is 55.6. It's just me. I don't know why I do that. It doesn't seem to affect anything now, but some people have reported that they can't download mods from Nexus if they don't have this set to the correct version. And of course we know the correct version is 0.55.6. That's just for today. It may change. You never know. So these are workarounds for problems with mod orders. Make sure you read the help text before changing anything here. Don't change it. Click OK. So we have, this is another tab for functionality, install mod, enable all visible mods, disable all visible, check all for updates, refresh, and export to CSV. This is a restore backup, and this is create a backup. Do this if you're ever going to be doing something that may crash Mod Organizer. It doesn't happen very often, but it might. This tab is for different, this is what we call the executable tab. You'll see I already have loot because I have loot for Skyrim and I have loot for Fallout New Vegas. It's automatically recognized it. We'll be going over how to install loot in the next episode where we install tools and improve our stability. But if you want to choose loot, you'd run it through that executable. All we have right now is Fallout 3. And you can run that game through the executable. This shortcut tab is if you want to create a shortcut on your toolbar, desktop, or start menu. We're going to use loot as an example because I always put it on my toolbar anyways. So you create shortcut, toolbar. So now you have toolbar up here. And you can leave this for whatever. If you want to run loot, you can. Speaking of loot, there is another functionality inside loot, instead of Mod Organizer, and that is what I call loot. Automatic reload. And this has a sort button. If you press this sort button, it's going to sort plugins. And that's all it does. If you are interested in associating the sort button with loot, I would suggest that you refer to my video on loot 0.7.0. I know that loot 7.1 is out, and don't worry about that too much. It's the same thing. Look for how to associate this button, and I'm just going to let that video do its own thing. All right, so we talked about plugins. This is the load order. As you download mods and install them, it's going to pop up over here, and this will be your load order over here. Archives. This is if you want to see things in your archive. Don't worry about that too much. Have Mod Organizer manage archives. Read more. If you want to read more on how to do that, right? You can do that. I always have it checked. It's the best way to do it. Just have loot manage it. Data tab. This is all the data files that you'll have in here. You can come down and just take a look at them. It's not so important now in the beginning because we're not adding any new textures, meshes, or any of that stuff. But it's good to know where it is. Saves. This is where your saves will be populated. As you create saves, it will be listed here. If you hover over a save, or click it and hover over it, it will tell you information about that save. Like what mods are missing. Information like that. And then finally downloads. This is the download tab. You can see you have name, file time, and done. This is where it's going to be. Right? That's your overview of Mod Organizer. Like I said, Michael from Gamerpoets does an excellent job at this, and you're going to see how it works as I fill it in. But for now, let's go ahead and we are going to close this because, and we're going to hide this away. Throw it away. I don't need it. We are going to talk about FOSE, Fallout Script Extender. Fallout Script Extender is a key that modders use to unlock the internal scripts in a game. And this allows them to provide better mods. A whole bunch of the best mods out there for Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Skyrim use a script extender. In this case, we're going to be using Fallout Script Extender. Let's open up the Nexus again, or the Internet, excuse me, and we'll go to the second tab. And this is the Fallout Script Extender, fose.silverlock.org. I will put all these links in the description so you can find them later. And you'll have a couple different things. You will have current stable version 1.2b2. You're looking for a couple different things. Do not, it says latest downloader right here. Do not use this. If you want the most stable version, you download this. I'm using version 1.3 beta. I've had zero problems with it. It works extremely well. All right, but it's up to you. The procedure for downloading it and installing it is exactly the same. Just be aware, this is the stable version. If you're uncomfortable using a beta version, I use it all the time. It's not cause a problem whatsoever. So you go ahead and click that to download it. Of course, I already have it on my desktop. And we are going to open it up and take a look. There's a bunch of stuff in here. And these are all FOSE files. Now what do you do with them? I want you to go into your games directory. Of course, it's in my games drive. It's all very familiar, isn't it? Steam, steamapps, common, Fallout 3 Game of the Year. Now this is where you'll see all this stuff. You have Fallout 3, in my case it says .exec, Fallout Launcher.exec. If you do not have your extensions enabled, look up on the internet how to enable extensions in your games, in your files. This way you know for sure, but this way you know it has the little Fallout, the action boy right there and there. Okay, you may see some other stuff that looks very familiar. This is how you know you're in the right spot when you see this application that says Fallout 3 or Fallout Launcher.exec. You're in the right spot. What we need and what we don't need from our now opened WinRAR file. If I forgot to mention, if you are new to modding, get yourself WinRAR or 7-zip. You're going to use it a lot. Okay, in this case, of course, I have it WinRAR, and it just opens it right up. And this is the archive that's opened up, and it's all compressed. And what you're going to see in here is a bunch of different things. And what we are looking for is this one, this one, this one, this one. We do not need the text. We do not need any of the text files. We do not need the doc.html, and we do not need the src. And we control click, control click, control click, control click. Now we have these 4 that we need. We don't, like I said, don't need src, don't need FOSE command.html, and we don't need the text files. We're going to drag and drop. And now you can see now it's in our Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition, and it has all the FOSE. This is the Fallout script extender. Now we can close that. We can close that. We throw this away. I didn't actually install a new icon, so let's go back in. Steam, Steam apps, common, Game of the Year, mod organizer. And here's what we're going to do. Highlight mod organizer.exec. You see it's the application. It's the one that's bigger than everything else. Right click, create shortcut, and I want you to drag and drop. Now we have this. If you want it to look as cool as that, let's just do this real fast. Right click, properties, change icon, browse, and you see I have an ICO. It's in my pictures thing. If you ever wanted to get a symbol like this, just go Google Fallout 3.ico, and this will give it, save it to your desktop or someplace to hold on to it. Go ahead and select this, hit open, hit OK, hit OK. Boop, done. Cool, huh? Anyway, so now we have a mod organizer.exe shortcut. I'm going to rename it Fallout 3 mod organizer. Done. All right, so now we can rerun this. Rerun it. Now, a little bit of magic happened. When you reran mod organizer, recognize FOSE. So now you have options. You can run the base installer or the base executable to run the game without using FOSE, or use FOSE. All right? So there we have FOSE. Every time you run a game with mods in it, you're going to need to run it through Mod Organizer. I know that sounds really weird, but you just are. You could create a desktop icon for this, but it's always better to know exactly what you're installing or what you're running before doing it. If you try and run the game through the base files, through Steam or something, it will not add your mods. It will not add any of the any tweaks that you've done. So now we have FOSE. Let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. And we're in the game. Now you can do this at any time. We're going to check to make sure Fallout script extender is running. I want you to hit the tilde key. That's the number just to the left of the number 1. And what that's going to do is open up the console command. You can see in the lower right, you now have a cursor down there. This is how you enter commands. Okay? So, to find out if we have FOSE, I want you to type this in. All one word, get FOSE version, and hit enter. And you see FOSE, down here guys, FOSE version 1. Done. We now have it. I want you to re-hit the tilde key. Cursor goes away. Quit that. Yeah, just exit the game. Whew. The sound was really loud. I'll have to turn that down in editing. So there we have. Everything's ready to run, right? So let's go ahead, now that we have FOSE, I want you to download a mod. This would be our first mod. So we want to go ahead and search Nexus Network for more mods. And we are going to look for something called OneTweak. OneTweak for Fallout 3. Fallout 3, or OneTweak for Fallout 3, is a borderless Windows mode. I'll explain it as we go. I will download this to the Nexus, but it's done by VirusSec. If you like this mod, donate to him here. If you want to see all about OneTweak, you can see my video about that. But anyways, once you go to Files, we're going to download our first mod. Pretty cool, huh? Download with Manager. Author of this file has indicated that it requires one or more other files in order to work properly. The files needed in order for this file to work are as follows. Nexus, if you're new to Nexus, it'll always tell you what it needs. Okay, or at least it should. Continue with my download. And we will quickly go back to Mod Organizer, go to our Downloads tab, and you can see OneTweak is ready to go. Now we are going to install our first mod. Double click to install. And this is what happens when you don't have a mod that has a FOSE mod. A FOSE mod is a device used to help users install their game, install their mods to their game. In this case, Mod Organizer will always present you with an option on how to install these things. So there's a couple different things. If you want to just install it and take a chance that it may not work correctly because of the way the file is structured, you can press OK. I always suggest hitting manual. Okay, we have OneTweak for Fallout 3. That's the same mod that we just installed. We want to hit manual. It's the tutorials. Turn off the tutorials already. Alright. So, since it was a new install of Mod Organizer, it wanted me to go through the tutorial. So, you'll see a problem down here. No game data on top level. And you'll see this with a lot of the older mods because they haven't been optimized for Mod Organizer. So how do you fix that? If you look into the mods itself, it's going to have docs, FOMod, and FOSE. So, what we need to do to fix that is I want you to highlight it, right-click, and we're going to set the data directory. Essentially, we're going to make it so just those components that we just saw are at the top. In other words, the game data on top level. Click it, and now you have docs, FOMod, and FOSE. And Mod Organizer will tell you, it looks good, no problem detected. It looks great. And what's it's doing, it's including a couple things here. So you have FOSE, plugins, OneTweak.dll, and a .ini. So it's changing the ini files, and it's changing the FOSE plugins. This is a lot to take in, but trust me, it'll work. Alright, so now you have, I'm going to ignore that update. I didn't upload it correctly, so it has the correct version. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, you now have a mod. You can move it around. Don't move it up there. Alright, this is how you activate it. You now installed it, but not activated it. Simply activate it. Now, you can now double click on it, and it'll give you information. It'll say, oh, here's all your text files. If you want to read those, you can. It'll give you the ini files. Basically, empty file from Mod Organizer. Run game once to populate this file for values. Okay. So we need to run the game once. Don't worry about it. It'll create its .own.ini the first time we run it. But we're not going to run it just yet. So we have images, optional ESPs. Some games will have more than one ESP that you can make optional or available. Conflicts. This will not have any conflicts at this point. That's an advanced thing. We'll talk about conflicts at a later time. Categories. Right? If you want to categorize this, you could put it in here. I don't use categories personally. Nexus info. I forgot. What version is it now? 2.0.1.1. Okay. 2.0.1.1. All right. See over here? It had the mod ID because it downloaded it. Now it has the correct version. So if you hit request, it will now show you everything about the file. All right, according to the Nexus. That's just how you change the version number. There's different ways to do things. Notes, if you want to have a note on something, you can. If you want to see the actual file tree itself, you can have all this stuff in here. The info if you had the FOSE mod. That's all there is to it. So we now go and close that. So now what do we do with OneTweak? OneTweak is going to create a borderless window. If you are new to Bethesda games, actually I need to close that, excuse me. Close that, and we're going to minimize this. If you are new to Bethesda games, you know they run better in a windowed mode. I want you to go into Steam. I want you to go to your library, and here's Fallout 3 again. I want you to hit play. I know I said we should be running through Mod Organizer, but this will be one of the last times, I promise. I want you to go into your options again. And you see down here, it has a mode windowed. I want you to click that. I know, it will change your resolution to 800 by 450. Just change it back. And I want you to hit OK. Now, when you hit play, minimize that down. So you now have a bordered window all the way around. Let's go ahead and just Alt-Tab out of this again. So, reopen Mod Organizer. I want you to choose FOSE. Remember, we set the game to played windowed mode, right? So we should have a windowed. But because we have OneTweak, it automatically jumped to a borderless window. And watch. Look! No border. And actually, when you Alt-Tab, you can go anywhere. Right? You want to go to the internet? Go back to the internet. You want to watch me record my voice? You can watch me record my voice. You go back to the game, you're right back in. No crashes, no nothing. So there we are. We've installed our first mod. So, wow, that was really fast. We got it all installed. It is all ready to run. You can now play the game. Borderless window mode will work. Alt-Tab out whenever you like, or Alt-Tab back in whenever you like. It works just fine now. It won't crash the game. And we installed FOSE. Probably the most important feature of modding the game is having Fallout Script Extender ready to go. And it's ready to play. I think that's enough for one episode. I think it is. Next episode we'll go over, tools like loot that I showed you. Do a bunch more. There's just so much to do. I said it'd be a short series, but it always ends up being longer than I expect. So that's it for now, guys. My name's Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.
I just want to be the one